All right. What's up, guys? Let's start with the AMA. The first questions are, how did you get to be so handsome? I don't think you get to be handsome. I think you just are, you're not. I don't know the answer to that. I guess genetics. I got a handsome father and a beautiful mother, pretty much, and they created me. Yeah. Simsley, who is the last girl, guy, person you kissed? My parents on the cheek, I guess. That's the last guy, person you kissed. My mom. You didn't say specifically where, so there you go. It's not spicy anymore. Yo, Jabroni, with why am I your favorite American? Wait, you're American, Jabroni? Shit. I don't know. Maybe. Can't answer that question. There's a lot of Americans I like. Actually, I think Donald Trump is my favorite. I guess the boss. Kappa. Crimson. Scoom on the wall. Who's the most handsome PubG player of them all? This is this is a good question. I think the most handsome player, we have to go full Kappa Pride, has to be Break. I think. Pretty sure it would have to be Break. Yo. Yep. Sharon, will you stream again with the schedule or do some match VOD of your comp? I'm gonna answer the second one first. Match VOD of your comp. I would love to do that. I used to do that a lot in Ark Survival Fittest when I used to compete and play tournaments. I used to go over my VODs even though I might have not streamed. Majority of the time I didn't stream them. Very few I did. And I love doing that. I loved going over my games and explaining and stuff like that. And but Ark was such a small community, and you know, I feel like a lot of people like that content, and I think a lot of people would like the content if we did in PUBG especially. But since it's really competitive, I'm part of a team and an organization, it just doesn't benefit us at all to do that match VOD analysis, because doing that actually helps other teams, in my opinion. Like in Ark, I think when I did over those match reviews, I think if other teams looked at them, they could benefit from it, and I think I see the same thing in PUBG. And as of right now, I don't want to give another team help or anyway. You know, I'm here to compete, and unfortunately that has to be kept secret, even though I would love to do that type of content. Maybe in the future, if I'm not playing PUBG anymore and I'm just like watching the games, I would definitely do that content. I think that's really needed in the scene right now. I mean, majority of the people that can do this content are like pro players because they know the most. So, but right now almost all the players are in teams and stuff like that, so no one benefits from it. The first question is, will you stream again with a schedule? I would love to be streaming again, to be honest. Yeah, there's multiple things why I haven't been streaming, and I'm just super random with my streams. It's because, yeah, I don't know. I just don't enjoy streaming that much anymore, mainly because PUBG isn't that fun for me to stream, and with PGI coming up and with tournaments, my main focus is just to be that, you know, so I would love to be playing, like, for example, Rem Royale as of now. I think like that type of game is like really fun for me as to stream, but I just know I will get addicted and I will be streaming too much. And with, like I said, with PGI coming up, I want my main focus to be PUBG. So yeah, who knows? Maybe sometime. I will definitely be streaming again. I think in the future, but can't answer that right now. How does a PUBG update impact the gameplay of the game in a pro level? I don't know what specifically update you're talking about. Like there hasn't been any like huge impact updates in the past. The only one that I can recall is I guess the one you might be talking about is the weapon changes, which I think was patch number 12 apparently, which brought all the new grips and you know, now the DMRs and stuff like that are way better. I think it definitely has impacted the gameplay. Used to see a lot of like double ARs, like 5.56 gun specifically in the past, and obviously they removed the level 3 helmet as well. The sniper rifles were not that effective, and now I feel like the Kar 98 Plus is becoming like really good in competitive PUBG. I think it's really freaking strong because you can get that initial knock and stuff. And also the DMRs are super strong. Like the SLR, SKS, and Mini are really good right now. They're way better than they are. So I think it's, and obviously the grip stuff has changed a lot. I think it has impacted. Like I feel like there's more skill now to actually shoot at people, whilst before it was kind of relatively easy to do that. So I think it was a really good. I think that's probably the best update they've done since release in terms of upping the gameplay of pro level, in my opinion. Especially like also the recent grenade changes is pretty good. Toffees with A or B debate of the tissue roll, definitely B. I mean, who the hell does A? Thing about A is that every time you freaking pull, I don't know why, it just breaks instantly. It just does. Whilst B, you can keep on pulling and it's like much tougher to break. Like, so yeah, B. You're crazy if it's not B. Alex with the question, Alex Danger with the question, Yanny or Laurel? I'm gonna hear that over again because I
hear Yanny?
Laurel. Laurel.
Or Laurel?
Laurel.
So I definitely hear Laurel. I hear Laurel. I do not hear Yanny at all. Even if I keep playing it or try to hear Yanny, I just don't hear it. So I hear Laurel. What is your favorite song to play when pulling up with Liquid Visa and fails Jembty? I want to know this one too. I don't know. I haven't done any pull-ups with them too, so I can't really say about that song. Whenever we will do pull-ups, I'll answer that in the future. But yeah, I haven't played with Jembty and Ibiza actually, so in a while, both together. So can't answer that. Mr. Smack with what is your favorite candy? That's such a tough question, but I think it would have to be the Kinder Choco Bons are probably my favorite. Those are just like super good. Kinder Choco Bons. Yeah, these Kinder Choco Bons for sure. They're so freaking good. I'm super addicted to that. Yeah. Has to be that. Mr. Cano, Trey, pirate or ninja? Please show your work. Please show your work. I don't know what you mean by that. But I prefer ninjas. Yeah. Although I kind of like pirates too, but I definitely prefer ninjas. I like being like sneaky, kind of like an assassin kind of thing. So yeah, ninja. Can't show my work though. I'm sorry. Jennifer, what do you think of the state of PubG now? The state of PubG right now is mixed feelings. Mixed feelings with the state of PubG. Like I said earlier with the patch, I think like the new patch of the weapon change and stuff like that made the competitive really good and improved it. But at the same time, that same patch caused the FPS to be really bad. Optimization just went down. Like it went down to the like what it was like 10 months ago. So it's really bad right now with lows like a 30 FPS lows in specific areas, mostly 40 to 50 FPS in most areas though. And I think that's just not enjoyable. It is what it is, unfortunately. But yeah, the state of PUBG right now is not the greatest in that sense, in optimization sense. In gameplay sense, is good. It's just like that needs to improve. In the state of like a competitive, like the esports and scene like that, I think it's good in my opinion. Like we have PGI coming up. I think that's gonna be the first step of PUBG Cop. So yeah. Zyrov with Soll, ik die vorhaenge zu maken. I'm gonna translate that. Should I make the curtains? I'm pretty sure that's, like, if I remember, that's what you told me when we were in the same hotel in Gamescom 2 years ago. Like Zyrov is a good friend of mine. He's German, and out of nowhere we were talking in English, and he just said something. He said this specifically in German. I think he meant, you know, should I close the curtains because the curtains were open? And he just randomly out of nowhere said it in German, which is we were both just laughing because I don't know why he told me in German. Matthias with Call of Duty or Battlefield. To be honest, as of right now, none. Like the Call of Duty games that come out like recently and the Battlefield, I'm not that huge of a fan. But overall, from the start to finish, Call of Duty is just like for sure my favorite. Like I loved Call of Duty 1. Call of Duty 2 was pretty good. And COD 4 Modern Warfare was not bad either. After that, I just didn't like any of the Call of Duty. It just got the same style all the time over and over again, and it wasn't for me, the gameplay. And Battlefield had some decent games, and I guess if I have to compare like Battlefield now, I would prefer Battlefield now to COD. Like the Battlefield 1 was better than the COD games and stuff like that, but it's not my gameplay. I just don't like the movement and the shooting anymore from these games. And the graphics, I feel like I prefer gameplay over like amazing graphics personally. So this is one of the reasons I feel like PUBG, I will still enjoy PUBG more than COD and BF, even though COD and BF is going to have better optimization, better graphics. I don't really care about that because the gameplay of the gun shooting is just not for me. I really love PUBG, even though it's not like optimized and the network and shit like that, but the gameplay is not going to compare to me personally. Ansvar with how drunk was I? This question is because I went to cast the GLL Wingman a few months back already in the duos, and then last night we obviously went out to have some drinks, and we actually drank a shit ton that night. That's probably one of the nights that I've drunk the most in the recent years, is with these guys, with the GLL guys. It was actually a really, really fun night, to be honest. I enjoyed it. The GLL guys are really cool dudes, and Ansvar as well. And yeah, Ansvar was extremely drunk that night. I think we all were. I was super drunk too, by the way. Like, I was really, really drunk. But you know when you're like, even when you're super drunk and someone else is in need, you just like sober up so quickly. That's something that happened this night. Ansvar was like super, super wasted, super drunk, like completely drunk. Like you had to carry him kind of drunk. And I was as well, similar, but I was not that level. But as soon as he like needed help, I just like snapped, became like sober instantly, and like I was in his room with one or two more guys and helping him carry him. Like his roommate of the hotel, I was staying with Martin, but his roommate like called us like he needed help, and me and Martin Avenger went over, and like, you know, I took him up, like had to drag him to the bathroom, and he was like vomiting everywhere and stuff. I mean, I don't know if he wants me to tell that story, but I guess he has because he has asked it. But yeah, we helped him that night, and yeah, he was super drunk. We bonded there. It was pretty funny. Yo, Typefost, what's up, man? GG's, what's up? What percentage can RNG be accounted for in a win versus lose in competitive PUBG? Does the most skilled always come out on top? Feel free to not answer the second one. All right, what percentage can RNG be accounted for in a win versus lose in competitive PUBG? That's like super hard to say, like percentage. Like that's almost impossible to answer that like that. You know what I mean? But roughly, I guess like an estimate guess. To win for a win versus lose, like it's pretty fucking high in the terms of winning a game is super high on RNG, but getting a good position, getting a good placement isn't. And let me try to recall that. Like, obviously, circle dictates a lot. And when you have 16 good teams in a server, some teams get the circle and some teams doesn't. It's really hard to fight it out, right? And win a game when a good team has it. But you can negate RNG by making good rotations and good decisions when you don't have the circles versus other teams that don't make that good decisions. Like, if you just have to tell me, like, one game, yeah, it's super high RNG, but over a course of a lot of games, the RNG minimizes, and you make the good decisions. Or if you're a good team, you can minimize those decisions, like those RNG on the bad circles, a lot more than other teams. So it's not really like a win versus lose. It's just how much do you lose when you don't get the circle. Obviously, you can not get the circle and win the game, but that's like very, very rare to happen for a team to get, like, that's 8 circles in PUBG minus a 9th one, which is the final one. If you don't get, like, if you get the worst circles all 8 times, no matter what team you are, there's extremely, extremely, extremely low chances of you winning the game. Like, if you get the worst circles possible. But also this comes down to if you play edge, right? Like, if you play edge from the first circle, literally, let's say you're on the far east of the circle and it shrinks far west. You go, then you move to the east edge again, and it shrinks far west, and you keep on repeating that. That's like the worst outcome you can get. But yeah, you can say that team got bad circle luck, but at the same time, how he positioned himself is what caused him to get bad circle luck. Like, if you play in the middle of the circle, the chances of you being in the next circle is greater than you play in the edge. So if you're in the circle all the time and you can rotate to the circle, obviously your chances of having bad circles is reduced, but it can still happen. You can be in the middle and it can drift all the time, like specific side. Like, you can be in the middle and it goes north, you go in the middle again, it goes north, you go in the middle again, and it goes north. Obviously, each time you do that in a competitive sense, you can't really go mid again because teams are going to be taking that. But yeah, like, that RNG is there, but it's extremely rare for a team to win doing that. Like, when the circle just goes away from them. Normally teams win when, you know, one, they get the circle all the time, which is also super rare to get it all the time. Two, you know, you might not get the circle in the first three, but then it shrinks to you on the 4th, 5th, and 6th, and they end up winning. But some teams also don't win. Like, you can get the circle a lot of times, and then when it comes to the final one, just because you get the circle in the final one doesn't mean you win. You still have to close it out, and it happens to a lot of teams that are not like top level. They get the circle and they just throw it. Like, they're just not that good to finish it out. Obviously, if you get, for example, FaZe, which is the best team in the world, if they get the circle, majority of the time they're gonna finish it, right? They're gonna come with the top. So yeah, this question is going a bit too deep, but in my opinion, it's similar to poker. You know, the best teams or players are gonna be winning on the long run, or depending how many games is in a tournament, right? Like, if it's a best of one, it's gonna be completely random all the time. Over a course of, like, let's say there's one tournament each month, and it's only a best of one each month, and there's 12 tournaments a year. Obviously, for example, FaZe, for example, just to say them, they're the #1 team. I'm pretty sure they would probably maybe win like 3 or 4 out of the 12, or 2 out of 3, which is also still pretty good. You know what I mean? They're still gonna win that tournament, that best of one. But if you have at least, like, you know, best of 10 games, then that number increases how many tournaments they win. If it's best of 20, even more. You know what I mean? Like, the more games, the higher chances of the best teams winning. I'd say roughly each game is about 70% luck, 30% skill in terms of winning a game. I mean, that's I can't really say the number because it's just so random. Like, there's so much variables to take into account. You can't really say, yeah, I'm gonna win a game this percentage of time. So there's RNG, but like I said, you can definitely negate like the losses and improve your good the good side. So that's such a tough question. And the second question, yeah, does the most skilled always come out on top? Yes, eventually they do, depending on how many games. You've seen that constantly. I mean, there's a reason FaZe have won so many tournaments, and the top teams normally win the tournaments. I want to say Liquid as well, even though we're kind of like in a rough sketch recently. We've won so many tournaments in a row, and not that many teams have been consistent as FaZe or us have been in the recent months. Absolute Tell with what was your best RP moment? If you can't pick one, then alternative questions. Do you miss roleplay? Answer both. My best RP moment has to be Reigner Kings, the Reigner Kings era. That was like not my first time roleplaying, because I did roleplay in Armor, but it was definitely my first time streaming RP. But my best moment was actually off stream. I feel like when I used to roleplay, the very first time I joined Reigner Kings, and around that days, it was with Lyric, and there was a lot of people on that server. It was just being Lyric's son, I think. Being Lyric's son was my funniest RP moment. And it's not because like Lyric, like saying because Lyric is like a big streamer, I was like the biggest RP streamer, and like just kind of saying that. It's just like, I think Lyric is a really good RP. At least I liked it back in the day, and I still do. It's just very funny, and like the moments I had when I was his son, it was just, I think it was just hilarious. So I think that was my favorite roleplay moment. And I do miss roleplaying a lot, but there's not been any game out there that's like striked me as much as Reigner King. So every time I play a new roleplaying, I just compare it, and it's not the same. Yeah. That's easy role-playing with me, Peachy. It was a pleasure role-playing with you, but unfortunately it was not. Furtive, back at IEM Oakland, what were you thinking to yourself while you were stuck behind that rock for most of that one game? That one game. I think it was game 2. Was it game 2, game 1, game 3? Can't remember. It was one of the first days. Yeah, I got stuck in that rock because driving through the swamp, I screwed up, I think it was, and I had to stop at the rock. I took the wrong path, And I had to stop at that rock, and it was kind of like where I was there was bang in the middle. I was bang in the middle of the circle, and I was behind a rock in the swamp, and I couldn't really escape anymore. Like, I was just surrounded by teams, so I had to just stay there. Luckily, they didn't really push me, but after like a few circles later than that, another team ended up like rolling up on me as 4, so I ended up getting wiped. I could have maybe proned and played it more sneakily. I could have probably played it better, but back then, what I was thinking was just like trying to survive and be in the circle. I ended up dying before my team though, so it didn't really matter. Brad Williams, best way to get better at aiming. Just like playing, like there's no like best way to get better at aiming in PUBG. For example, if you said in PUBG, like get better at shooting in PUBG, is just putting in the hours and just getting into fights constantly. It's just a way to get better. If you I have custom server access. I can make war modes, so I can play like a deathmatch mode, which helps, but not that much. But it definitely helps to like warm up a little bit and get a little slightly better at aiming. But yeah, just hours. Put in the hours. Get used to like a good sensitivity as well. Like if your sensitivity is really high, just lower it down. Like if you look at the most pros in FPS gaming in general, they have a relatively low FPS and they use their arm to aim. Like they use their arm to turn around and then like their wrist to aim. So they generally have really low sensitivity, as it definitely helps you be more precise consistently. So if you have a super high sensitivity, I suggest like turn it a little bit down. It also comes down to a little bit preference. Some people have it a little bit higher, but it's not like, I know some people have it super high, and like, that's one of the reasons why they're not like consistent in aiming. But that, and just keep practicing playing, like just keep like hot dropping areas where like you can get into fights as much as possible, and just put in a lot of hours. That's pretty much it. What's up, Enemy of the States? When PUBG was announced as an esport, I was worried they experienced the same teaming problem that Ark Survival Fittest had, where people agreed to not go to the same places to avoid killing each other. Have you experienced any of this, or do you think PUBG has managed to root out such efforts? I think like there's multiple different like breakdowns on this. Like teaming in Ark Survival. I used to compete in Ark Survival, which is Survival Fittest, which was like a battle royale of Ark Survival Vault, which is like a survival game of dinosaurs. They had like their own battle royale, which had a lot of money involved in that game, even though it's such a small community. One of the issues it had was obviously teams, because the way you played tournaments in that game, you qualified for a leaderboard. The same as PUBG has a leaderboard. Each month, if you were in the top brackets, you qualify for a monthly tournament, and in that monthly tournament, if whatever you placed, you won money, and it was only a best of 1. But yeah, a lot of things that happened back then was you had a lot of people that would team, like in solos, they would team up in the same game to help each other get the best ranks. Since it was such a small community, you know, not that many servers ran, so it was always like against the same people. So some people did team, even though it was kind of ban of offense, they kind of hit it and stuff like that. That was one issue. The first one is like teaming. And the second issue that it kind of had that you just brought up was places to avoid killing each other. I don't think teams agreed to avoid killing each other per se. Like maybe other teams did it, which without a doubt they did, and they probably do in PUBG, is they agree to avoid each other in the game, at least in the early game, and then late game, whatever. Or maybe sometimes even agreed late game not to fight against each other, which is direct teaming, but that's so hard to prove, you know. For example, yeah, like teams know we land Yasnaya, teams know FaZe lands Milta Power, you know, Vitality land Milta. We can all agree not to land against each other, but that's just over time we've gotten to those states. But yeah, Ark Survival Fittest had the same thing. Each team had their own area. Like Kitty Cats had their area at the cluster. We had by Volcano. What was it? Yeah, like down a volcano, and just each team had their own area. And we did avoid each other, but I don't like it wasn't agreed like per se for me, for example, as Kappa Pride, our team, like we didn't agree with Kitty Cats not to avoid them, or vice versa. It just never happened. It's just like over time, over a lot of games, over a lot of tournaments, you respected the new teams go specific areas, you respected that, and there was no point fighting early for a team. The same as PUBG is no point fighting early, because you need to win the game to win the tournament. So fighting early, you're just gonna lose players, and that makes no sense. So teams avoided each other. You know, the better teams in Arc had normally the better spots because of that. Because why would you go against a top team? You know, same as FaZe, for example, as I mentioned them earlier. They're the #1 team. Why would you go Miltapower and fight them? Because your chances of winning are going to be extremely low. You're just going to be fucking each other. So yeah. Is there fixed people agreements? Probably, though. I mean, there was in Arc. There most likely will be in PUBG. Like, people avoid each other in areas, especially when they're kind of close to each other, and might have done agreements not to do anything against each other. I haven't encountered that myself, obviously, and I'm extremely against that, but there's nothing we can really do. I don't know how you can even prove that unless you get, like, proof from one of the teams snitching on each other, pretty much. So it kind of, I mean, some of it happens like naturally, but there could be people agreeing. In terms of like teaming, it can be huge. Like the teams to team up. Like it normally happens. I mean, I haven't seen any teaming per se, but like things like that normally happens in qualifiers and shit. Like teaming. It hasn't been a shit show like Ark Survival for this. Like PUBG has been for the most part like pretty tame. Like, Ark Survival Fittest had a lot of teaming. People actually physically teaming, like 2v1ing you in a fight. And people, like, actually, like, teaming up to, like, avoid you of qualifying and stuff like that. PUBG has been kind of fine. Like, the only incident that I think as of late that has happened was probably the TSM, which I think I saw a question about it, which I can answer later. As TSM, I think, got teamed up on by 2 different teams or something like that. But I don't have too much info about that. So, it's not that bad as you think. Anima, yeah, right now. That was a bit long though, but yeah. Bada bing with probably too late, but are you going to move to the Netherlands permanently? Check the city Deventer. Not permanently, and it's not too late. I mean, your question obviously, but moving to Netherlands was an option. Obviously, as you know, TeamLiquid have the headquarters in EU is in Netherlands, and they do have like living facilities and stuff like that. And they did offer it to me if I wanted to move there to test it out. It wasn't like permanently; it was like for a couple of months. The reason I haven't moved there yet, which I kind of have been wanting to, is because we've been so busy. Like we've been having like tournaments like every week and every month. We've been like going to LANs and stuff. So it's been pretty much tough for me to like just pack up and go there with a lot going on. And it's got to the point now that I've been dragging it along, and now it's like, as most of you know, I actually hate the heat. I really, really dislike the heat. And I have my own air conditioner in my room that I installed last year, which is a really good one because it gets hot especially during summer in Gibraltar. And right now, actually in the Netherlands, at least in the past few weeks or months, was actually hotter in the Netherlands than in Gibraltar. So moving to a place where it was hotter, I'm gonna have to get my own AC, and even if it's portable AC, it just makes so much noise because I used to have a portable AC. So I haven't it's just been multiple things that I haven't been doing because of, you know, obviously all these tournaments and just like it's so hot there. But if obviously it continues and that offer's still open in a few months, when it gets a bit colder, I might move there because I do want to live outside and experience life elsewhere and on my own. Mr. Fiend, what's up, dude? 1v1 situation, Jembty or Sambty? It's actually pretty funny. Jembty and Sambty. Jembty plays for FaZe, Sambty plays for us in TeamLiquid. They're brothers, actually twins. They always have like a competitive thing when they kill each other in a tournament, so it's pretty funny. I think they're pretty even on killing each other in terms of like actual tournaments. So I don't know. I can't really answer that. I would say Sambty, obviously. I'll say Sambty because he's my teammate. Remove melee weapons for competitive. Yes. I agree. Because obviously melee weapons, like no one uses it except for the pan. The only melee weapon people use is the pan to give you protection. And I think it's an RNG element in the game that makes no sense per se. I don't know. Like the reason is like the pan is kind of buggy. That's one of the issues. It's kind of buggy. Like the hitbox of the pan, sometimes the pan obviously is in your back, but sometimes you spray a guy in the front and it hits the pan for some reason. One of the bullets hits the pan, and that in a 1v1 situation can be game changing. And the fact that it's buggy, the fact that the hitboxes and the FPS and the optimization and the desynciness is in effect, you add a pan that blocks the damage. I feel like because of that, I want it to be removed. If the pan had a good hitbox, like a legit, and there was no desync and stuff like that, then no. But I don't think they will remove it because I think the pan is like it's like a meme right now. It's like it's part of PUBG, right? The pan, it's like it's engraved as a thing. So removing it, I don't think people will like. I don't think PUBG would remove it. So, in the terms of competitive sense, yeah, I don't want it to be there. Suspicious Pixel with, are you left or right-handed? Those are a lot of questions. Are you left or right-handed? I'm right-handed. I can't use my left for shit except for keyboard. Do you like red zones? No one really likes red zones. It's just an RNG element in the game that makes no sense as well. To be honest, I mean, we have it removed in competitive PUBG for a reason. Yeah, I mean, you die inside houses sometimes with red zones. I know it's really rare and it depends where you hide, but you can still die. And I don't know, it just makes no sense. And I hate it when they say, yeah, you can easily avoid it, and it just makes us no sense. Sometimes you can't avoid, and it just adds nothing to the game except for loud noises and randomness. Just, no, I don't like it. Have you got to the chopper yet? Ever saw one in real life? I've never got to the chopper. No, I would like to one day to be on a helicopter chopper, yeah, for sure. If Clara asks you on a day, would you accept? Clara is that that chick was cheating in CSGO, right? That girl that was saying Clara installed cheats in CSGO, so I would not accept. I don't like cheaters. I freaking hate cheaters, so fuck Clara. Who would win in a mud wrestling contest, Summit or Shroud? What kind of questions is this, man? I think Summit will win. Summit will probably headbutt him and rip Shroud. Why do Liquid have vanilla ice haircuts? I don't know. I guess it's like the trend nowadays, that type of haircut, short on the sides and then long above. So just probably will change in a few months. Blair, would you marry me? Yes, sure. When the PUBG Pro teams were initially being created, how did you manage to get the team leader role at TeamLiquid? Before becoming a pro player, did you have any role models you were inspired by? Tell us why Claus is your favorite sub. Yo, Goonie. I didn't manage to get the team leader. It just kind of happened in the old TeamLiquid when we made the roster. Hayes, Ollie, and Molman. I was kind of the in-game leader, and I was the one doing most of the outside stuff, like signing up for tournaments and signing up for scrims and stuff like that. So I just got the team leader because of those two reasons. Pretty much, I was just more involved in the management thingies. Any role models that you were inspired by? I don't think I have any like role models that I was inspired by, to be honest, looking back. Trying to figure it out. There's no one like I look up to. Nope, I just don't have anyone. And Claus is my favorite sub. Maria, what's up, Ruben? As you are a competitive person in general, how the hell did you end up at Euro at Call of Duty 1, which was obviously more of a casual clan? Alright, so I gotta get a backstory of this. Euro is a Call of Duty clan, Call of Duty 1 rifle only clan that I joined back in like 2010, if I'm not mistaken. So that was like 8 years ago. It was more of a casual clan. Yeah, it was like a community, Euro Rifles. It was just a community in Call of Duty 1 rifle only. I'm gonna backtrack a lot more, I guess. I started playing Call of Duty 1 in the end of like 2003 or early 2004. The game came out. I played a lot of Call of Duty 1 rifle only. It's my favorite FPS game of all time. I just really loved it, and it was my first FPS that I played. And I played it for like a few years, from 2004 probably up till like 2005, 2006. And then like I was kind of off and on with that game. I started playing other games, obviously, like World of Warcraft, League of Legends, and Data Feed Source. I just played a lot of games, and I would sometimes come back to Call of Duty 1. But then I kind of had like a huge break. I think it was like a few years of break of Call of Duty 1. And back then, I don't know if you guys remember, we actually used Xfire, which is pretty funny. This guy has a picture of Xfire. That was like the main platform. It's like Steam of the old days. The main platform you would interact with people to chat and stuff like that, and get scrims or whatever. It was Xfire. It was for Xfire. But I hadn't logged in Xfire for such a long time because I only used it for Call of Duty 1. Like other platforms had different things. So I didn't log into my account in Xfire for a few years. And yeah, just out of the blue, I felt like not playing COD 1, but out of the blue, I just like remembered my friends that I made in Xfire, and I hadn't contacted them. I hadn't like spoke to them in ages. So I just logged on to my Xfire account and just saw everyone was like, some people were still playing Call of Duty 1 and stuff like that. It was just like, it was a nostalgia and good to see like all these people on Xfire. And I remember like a specific friend, like it was a actual friend, was a girl, and I don't remember her name. I don't remember this girl's name specifically. I just have like, one thing about me is like I have a really bad memory of, like I have really good memory, but I have bad memory of remembering things. I don't have good memory. I have bad memory of like remembering things, like specific names and stuff, unless like I see it again. Like if I see the name, I'll remember. So I didn't remember the specific girl's name. That was a friend of mine and someone else. Like we were three guys. It was 2 guys and 1 girl. We were like really close back then in Call of Duty 1, like ages ago, like freaking ages ago. And when I logged on Xfire and I saw like all of my friends, I had added as friend, but I think she wasn't there anymore. And I saw in Xfire it says like friends of friends, like you can see the friends of your friends, and there was like people playing Call of Duty 1. And I saw a specific name that I recognized, and I thought that was the friend that I kind of like hadn't contacted, like the girlfriend. So I messaged her and stuff like that, and it didn't end up being her. Like she didn't know who the fuck I was, that girl. But I just like started talking to this specific girl, and she was playing Call of Duty 1 rifle only actually, and she was playing on the Euros rifle only server. So she was actually in the Euro clan, and I just out of blue talking to her and stuff, was just interested in playing Call of Duty 1 again. Like I got like that, like I wasn't really like, when I logged back on Xfire, I didn't really want to play Call of Duty 1, just wanted to like interact with the people that I missed. But I just got that itch to play Call of Duty 1. And I went to that Euro Rifle server, and it was actually pretty good. I missed playing Call of Duty Rifle only, so I got addicted again. I got super addicted, and I started playing a lot of Call of Duty 1 Rifle only, and that was the only game I was playing at the time. You know, I was obviously talking to this girl, and I met the community of Euro Rifles, and it was just a fun, casual community, and everyone was so welcoming, everyone was so cool, and I don't know, I just like applied and applied to this the clan, and I just enjoyed it there. Like I've like you said, I'm normally being a competitive person, but back then like Call of Duty 1 rifle only was like, for me, the competitive side was already gone. Like I was only playing it for fun kind of thing, you know. I just liked that casual aspect because I knew the competitive side of it had no future, you know what I mean? So when I joined Euro, I was just really enjoying playing with everyone, and it was just a lot of fun. Yeah, we had scrims and we had tournaments, and I was really competitive there, and you know it, like I was obviously the best player in the team because it was just a casual clan versus playing against better teams. But for me, that was like kind of a challenge as well. Like when you're in a not so great team and you're facing better teams, it's like you have to carry them. And I don't know, like I had such a good bond with everyone in the team that it was just really satisfying to push even myself harder to take the W, you know, to win the game. So it was really satisfying. I really enjoyed my time there, and it was a lot of fun, a really good community. So that's how I joined Euro, meeting a random girl that I thought was someone else. She was in this specific clan. I felt like playing the game again, met the community, met everyone in the clan, and then I just joined, and it was from there. Joined the Euro Rifles.